El Dorado by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Gaily bedight a gallant knight, in sunshine and in shadow, had journeyed long, singing a song in search of El Dorado. But he grew old, this knight so bold, and o'er his heart a shadow fell as he found no spot of ground that looked like El Dorado. And as his strength failed him at length, he met a pilgrim's shadow. "Shadow," said he, "where can it be, this land of El Dorado?" "Over the mountains of the moon, down the valley of the shadow. Ride, boldly ride," the shade replied, "if you seek for El Dorado." End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Ukulele by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Preeti Sidhu. I dwelt alone in a world of moan, and my soul was a stagnant tide, till the fair and gentle ukulele became my blushing bride, till the yellow-haired young ukulele became my smiling bride. Ah, less bright the stars of the night than the eyes of the radiant girl, and never a flake that the vapor can make with the moon tints of purple and pearl can vie with the modest ukulele's most unregarded curl, can compare with the bright-eyed ukulele's most humble and careless curl. Now doubt, now pain, come never again, for her soul gives me sigh for sigh, and all day long shines bright and strong Astarte within the sky, while ever to her dear ukulele upturns her matron eye, while ever to her young ukulele upturns her violet eye. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Dream Within a Dream by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Take this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, thus much let me avow. You are not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream. Yet if hope has flown away, in a night or in a day, in a vision or in none, is it therefore less gone? All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of the golden sand. How few! Yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep, while I weep, while I weep. Oh God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? Oh God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Marie Louise Show by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Of all who hail thy presence as the morning, of all to whom thine absence is the night, the blotting utterly from out high heaven the sacred sun, of all who, weeping, bless thee hourly for hope, for life, ah, above all, for the resurrection of deep-buried faith in truth, in virtue, in humanity, of all who on despair's unhallowed bed, lying down to die, have suddenly arisen at thy soft-murmured words, "Let there be light," at thy soft-murmured words that were fulfilled in thy seraphic glancing of thine eyes, of all who owe thee most, whose gratitude nearest resembles worship, oh, remember the truest, the most fervently devoted, and think that these weak lines are written by him who, as he pens them, thrills to think his spirit is communing with an angel's.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To to Marie Louise show by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Not long ago, the writer of these lines, in the mad pride of intellectuality, maintained the power of words, denied that ever a thought arose within the human brain beyond the utterance of the human tongue. And now, as if in mockery of that boast, 2 words, 2 foreign soft dissyllables, Italian tones, made only to be murmured by angels dreaming in the moonlit dew that hangs like chains of pearl on Hermon Hill, have stirred from out the abysses of his heart unthought-like thoughts that are the souls of thought, richer, far wilder, far diviner visions than even the seraph harper Israfel, who has the sweetest voice of all God's creatures, could hope to utter. And I, my spells are broken, the pen falls powerless from my shivering hand. With thy dear name as text, though hidden by thee, I cannot write, I cannot speak or think, alas, I cannot feel, for 'tis not feeling, the standing motionless upon the golden threshold of the wide-open gate of dreams, gazing, entranced, adown the gorgeous vista, and thrilling as I see, upon the right, upon the left, and all the way along, amid empurpled vapors, far away to where the prospect terminates, thee only.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The City in the Sea by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Nemo. Lo, Death has reared himself a throne in a strange city lying alone, far down within the dim west, where the good and the bad and the worst and the best have gone to their eternal rest. There shrines and palaces and towers, time-eaten towers, and tremble not, resemble nothing that is ours. Around, by lifting winds forgot, resignedly beneath the sky, the melancholy waters lie. No rays from the holy heaven come down on the long night time of that town, but light from out the lurid sea streams up the turrets silently, gleams up the pinnacles far and free, up domes, up spires, up kingly halls, up fanes, up Babylon-like walls, up shadowy long forgotten bowers of sculptured ivy and stone flowers, up many and many a marvelous shrine whose wreathed friezes intertwine the viol, the violet, and the vine. Resignedly beneath the sky the melancholy waters lie, so blend the turrets and shadows there that all seem pendulous in air, while from a proud tower in the town Death looks gigantically down. There open fanes and gaping graves yawn level with the luminous waves, but not the riches there that lie in each idol's diamond eye. Not the gaily jeweled dead tempt the waters from their bed, for no ripples curl, alas, along the wilderness of glass. No swellings tell that winds may be upon some far-off happier sea. No heavings hint that winds have been on seas less hideously serene. But lo, a stir is in the air, the wave, there's a movement there, as if the towers had thrust aside, and slightly sinking the dull tide, as if their tops had feebly given a void within the filmy heaven. The waves have now redder glow, the hours are breathing faint and low, and when, amid no earthly moans, down, down the town shall settle hence, hell, rising from 1,000 thrones, shall do it reverence. End a poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Sleeper by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. At midnight in the month of June I stand beneath the mystic moon. An opiate vapor, dewy, dim, exhales from out her golden rim, and softly dripping drop by drop upon the quiet mountain top, steals drowsily and musically into the universal valley. The rosemary nods upon the grave, the lily lolls upon the wave. Wrapping the fog about its breast, the ruin moulders into rest. Looking like Lethe, see, the lake a conscious slumber seems to take, and would not for the world awake. All beauty sleeps, and lo, where lies her casement open to the skies, Irene with her destinies. O lady bright, can it be right, this window open to the night? The wanton airs from the tree-top laughingly through the lattice drop, the bodiless airs, a wizard rout, flit through thy chamber in and out, and wave the curtain canopy so fitfully, so fearfully, above the closed and fringed lid, 'neath which thy slumbering soul lies hid, that o'er the floor and down the wall like ghosts the shadows rise and fall. O lady dear, hast thou no fear? Why and what art thou dreaming here? Sure thou art come o'er far off seas, a wonder to these garden trees. Strange is thy pallor, strange thy dress, strange above all thy length of tress, and this all solemn silentness. The lady sleeps. O may her sleep which is enduring so be deep. Heaven have her in its sacred keep. This chamber changed for one more holy, this bed for one more melancholy. I pray to God that she may lie for ever with unopened eye, while the dim sheeted ghosts go by. My love, she sleeps. O may her sleep, as it is lasting, so be deep. Soft may the worms about her creep. Far in the forest dim and old, for her may some tall vault unfold, some vault that oft hath flung its black and winged panels fluttering back, triumphant o'er the crested palls of her grand family funerals, some sepulchre remote, alone, against whose portal she hath thrown in childhood many an idle stone. Some tomb from out whose sounding door she ne'er shall force an echo more. Thrilling to think, poor child of sin, it was the dead who groaned within. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Bridal Ballad by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org. The ring is on my hand, and the wreath is on my brow. Satins and jewels grand are all at my command, and I am happy now. And my Lord, he loves me well. But when first he breathed his vow, I felt my bosom swell, for the words rang as a knell, and the voice seemed his who fell in the battle down the dell, and who is happy now. But he spoke to reassure me, and he kissed my pallid brow, while a reverie came o'er me, and to the churchyard bore me, and I sighed to him before me, thinking him dead Delorme. Oh, I am happy now. And thus the words were spoken, and thus the plighted vow. And though my faith be broken, and though my heart be broken, behold the golden keys that proves me happy now. Would to God I could awaken, for I dream I know not how, and my soul is sorely shaken, lest an evil step be taken, lest the dead who is forsaken may not be happy now. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section 24 of the Complete Poetical Works. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Complete Poetical Works by Edgar Allan Poe. Section 24. Notes. Note on the Raven. The Raven was first published on the 29th January 1845 in the New York Evening Mirror, a paper its author was then assistant editor of. It was prefaced by the following words understood to have been written by N.P. Willis. We are permitted to copy, in advance of publication, from the second number of the American Review, the following remarkable poem by Edgar Poe. In our opinion, it is the most effective single example of fugitive poetry ever published in this country, and unsurpassed in English poetry for subtle conception, masterly ingenuity of versification, and consistent sustaining of imaginative lift and pokerishness. It is one of those dainties bred in a book which we feed on. It will stick to the memory of everybody who reads it. In the February number of the American Review, the poem was published as by Quarles, and it was introduced by the following note, evidently suggested, if not written, by Poe himself. Quote, "The following lines from a correspondent, besides the deep, quaint strain of the sentiment and the curious introduction of some ludicrous touches amidst the serious and impressive, as was doubtless intended by the author, appears to us one of the most felicitous specimens of unique rhyming which has for some time met our eye. The resources of English rhythm for varieties of melody, measure, and sound, producing corresponding diversities of effect, have been thoroughly studied, much more perceived, by very few poets in the language, while the classic tongues, especially the Greek, possess, by power of accent, several advantages for versification over our own, chiefly through greater abundance of spondaic feet. We have other and very great advantages of sound by the modern usage of rhyme. Alliteration is nearly the only effect of that kind which the ancients had in common with us. It will be seen that much of the melody of the Raven arises from alliteration and the studious use of similar sounds in unusual places. In regard to its measure, it may be noted that if all the verses were like the second, they might properly be placed merely in short lines, producing a not uncommon form. But the presence in all of the others of one line, mostly the second in the verse, stanza, which flows continuously with only an aspirate pause in the middle, like that before the short line in the Sappho Adonic, while the fifth has at the middle pause no similarity of sound with any part beside, gives the versification an entirely different effect. We could wish the capacities of our noble language in prosody were better understood." Editor, American Review. End quote. Note on the bells. The bibliographical history of the bells is curious. The subject, and some lines of the original version, having been suggested by the poet's friend, Mrs. Shue, Poe, when he wrote out the first draft of the poem, headed it, "The Bells by Mrs. M.A. Shue." This draft, now the editor's property, consists of only 17 lines, and reads thus. 1. The bells, ah the bells, the little silver bells, how fairy-like a melody there floats from their throats, from their merry little throats, from the silver tinkling throats of the bells, bells, bells of the bells. 2. The bells, ah the bells, the heavy iron bells, how horrible a monody there floats from their throats, from their deep-toned throats, from their melancholy throats, how I shudder at the notes of the bells, bells, bells of the bells. In the autumn of 1848, Poe added another line to this poem and sent it to the editor of the Union magazine. It was not published. So, in the following February, the poet forwarded to the same periodical a much enlarged and altered manuscript. 3 months having elapsed without publication, another revision of the poem, similar to the current version, was sent, and in the following October was published in the Union magazine. Note on Ulalume. This poem was first published in Colton's American Review for December 1847 as, quote, "To blank blank Ulalume, a ballad," end quote. Being reprinted immediately in the Home Journal, it was copied into various publications with the name of the editor, N.P. Willis, appended, and was ascribed to him. When first published, it contained the following additional stanza, which Poe subsequently, at the suggestion of Mrs. Whitman, wisely suppressed. Said we then, the two then, ah, can it have been that the woodlandish ghouls, the pitiful, the merciful ghouls, to bar up our path and to ban it, from the secret that lies in these wolds, had drawn up the spectre of a planet from the limbo of lunary souls, this sinfully scintillant planet from the hell of the planetary souls. Note on To Helen. To Helen, Mrs. S. Helen Whitman, was not published until November 1848, although written several months earlier. It first appeared in the Union magazine, and with the omission, contrary to the knowledge or desire of Poe, of the line, "O God, O Heaven, how my heart beats in coupling those two words." Note on Annabel Lee. Annabel Lee was written early in 1849, and is evidently an expression of the poet's undying love for his deceased bride, although at least one of his lady admirers deemed it a response to her admiration. Poe sent a copy of the ballad to the Union magazine, in which publication it appeared in January 1850, 3 months after the author's death. Whilst suffering from hope deferred as to its fate, Poe presented a copy of Annabel Lee to the author of the Southern Literary Messenger, who published it in the November number of his periodical a month after Poe's death. In the meantime, the poet's own copy, left among his papers, passed into the hands of the person engaged to edit his works, and he quoted the poem in an obituary of Poe in the New York Tribune before anyone else had an opportunity of publishing it. Note on A Valentine. A Valentine, one of 3 poems addressed to Mrs. Osgood, appears to have been written early in 1846. Note on An Enigma. An enigma, addressed to Mrs. Sarah Anna Lewig, Stella, was sent to that lady in a letter in November 1847, and the following March appeared in Sartain's Union magazine. Note on To My Mother. The sonnet To My Mother, Maria Clem, was sent for publication to the short-lived Flag of Our Union early in 1849, but does not appear to have been issued until after its author's death, when it appeared in the Leaflets of Memory for 1850. Note on For Annie. For Annie was published in the Flag of Our Union in the spring of 1849. Poe, annoyed at some misprints in this issue, shortly afterwards caused a corrected copy to be inserted in the Home Journal. Note on To F. To F, Francis Sargent Osgood, appeared in the Broadway Journal for April 1845. These lines are but slightly varied from those inscribed to Mary in the Southern Literary Messenger for July 1835, and subsequently republished, with the 2 stanzas transposed, in Graham's Magazine for March 1842 as To One Departed. Note on To Francis S. Osgood. To F.S. S. O.D., a portion of the poet's triune tribute to Mrs. Osgood, was published in the Broadway Journal for September 1845. The earliest version of these lines appeared in the Southern Literary Messenger for September 1835 as "Lines Written in an Album," and was addressed to Eliza White, the proprietor's daughter. Slightly revised, the poem reappeared in Burton's Gentleman's Magazine for August 1839 as "To blank." Note on El Dorado. Although El Dorado was published during Poe's lifetime in 1849 in The Flag of Our Union, it does not appear to have ever received the author's finishing touches. Note on Eulalie. Eulalie, a Song, first appears in Colton's American Review for July 1845. Note on A Dream Within a Dream. A Dream Within a Dream does not appear to have been published as a separate poem during its author's lifetime. A portion of it was contained, in 1829, in the piece beginning, "Should My Early Life Seem," and in 1831 some few lines of it were used as a conclusion to Tamerlane. In 1849 the poet sent a friend all but the first 9 lines of the piece as a separate poem, headed "For Annie." Note on To Marie Louise Shue. To M.L.S., addressed to Mrs. Marie Louise Shue, was written in February 1847 and published shortly afterwards. In the first posthumous collection of Poe's poems, these lines were, for some reason, included in the Poems Written in Youth, and amongst those poems they have hitherto been included. Note on the second poem entitled To Marie Louise Shue. To blank, a second piece addressed to Mrs. Shue and written in 1848, was also first published, but in a somewhat faulty form, in the above-named posthumous collection. Note on The City in the Sea. Under the title of The Doomed City, the initial version of The City in the Sea appeared in the 1831 volume of Poems by Poe. It reappeared as The City of Sin in the Southern Literary Messenger for August 1835, whilst the present draft of it first appeared in Colton's American Review for April 1845. Note on The Sleeper. As Irene, the first known version of The Sleeper appeared in the 1831 volume. It reappeared in the Literary Messenger for May 1836, and in its present form in the Broadway Journal for May 1845. Note on The Bridal Ballad. The Bridal Ballad is first discoverable in the Southern Literary Messenger for January 1837, and in its present compressed and revised form was reprinted in the Broadway Journal for August 1845. End of section 24.
Lenore by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Nemo. Ah, broken is the golden bowl, the spirit flown forever. Let the bell toll. A saintly soul floats on the Stygian river. In Guy de Vere hast thou no tear? Weep now, or never more. See, on yon drear and rigid bier, low lies thy love, Lenore. Come, let the burial rite be read, the funeral song be sung, an anthem for the queenliest dead that ever died so young. A dirge for her, the doubly dead, in that she died so young. Wretches, ye loved her for her wealth, and hated her for her pride, and when she fell in feeble health, ye blessed her that she died. How shall the ritual then be read, the requiem how be sung? By you, by yours, the evil eye, by yours, the slanderous tongue, that did to death the innocent that died, and died so young. Peccavimus, but rave not thus, and let a Sabbath song go up to God so solemnly the dead may feel no wrong. The sweet Lenore hath gone before, with hope that flew beside, leaving thee wild for the dear child that should have been thy bride. For her, the fair and debonair, that now so lowly lies, the life upon her yellow hair, but not within her eyes, the life still there upon her hair, the death upon her eyes. Avaunt, tonight my heart is light, no dirge will I upraise, but waft the angel on her flight with a paean of old days. Let no bell toll, lest her sweet soul amid its hallowed mirth should catch the note, as it doth float up from the damned earth. To friends above, from fiends below, the indignant ghost is riven from hell unto a high estate far up within the heaven, from grief and groan to a golden throne beside the King of Heaven. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. To One in Paradise by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Nemo. Thou wast that all to me, love, for which my soul did pine, a green isle in the sea, love, a fountain and a shrine, all wreathed with fairy fruits and flowers, and all the flowers were mine. Ah, dream too bright to last! Ah, starry hope, that didst arise but to be overcast! A voice from out the future cries, on, on, but o'er the past dim gulf my spirit hovering lies, mute, motionless, aghast. For, alas, alas, with me the light of life is o'er, no more, no more, no more. Such language holds the solemn sea to the sands upon the shore. Shall bloom the thunder-blasted tree, or the stricken eagle soar. And all my days are trances, and all my nightly dreams are where thy dark eye glances, and where thy footstep gleams, in what ethereal dances, by what eternal streams. Alas, for that accursed time they bore thee o'er the billow, from love to titled age and crime, and an unholy pillow from me and from our misty clime, where weeps the silver willow. 1835. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Colosseum by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Type of the antique Rome, rich reliquary of lofty contemplation left to time by buried centuries of pomp and power. At length, after so many days of weary pilgrimage and burning thirst for the springs of lore that in thee lie, I kneel, an altered and an humble man, amid thy shadows, and so drink within my very soul thy grandeur, gloom and glory, vastness and age, and memories of eld, silence and desolation, and dim night. I feel ye now, I feel ye in your strength, O spells more sure than e'er Judean king taught in the gardens of Gethsemane, O charms more potent than the rapt Chaldee ever drew down from out the quiet stars. Here, where a hero fell, a column falls. Here, where the mimic eagle glared in gold, a midnight vigil holds the swarthy bat. Here, where the dames of Rome their gilded hair waved to the wind, now wave the reed and thistle. Here, where on golden throne the monarch lulled, glides, spectre-like, unto his marble home, lit by the wan light of the horned moon, the swift and silent lizard of the stone. But stay, these walls, these ivy-clad arcades, these mouldering plinths, these sad and blackened shafts, these vague entablatures, this crumbling frieze, these shattered cornices, this wreck, this ruin, these stones, alas, these grey stones, are they all of the famed and the colossal, left by the corrosive hours to fate and me? Not all, the echoes answer me, not all. Prophetic sounds and loud arise forever from us, and from all ruin unto the wise, as melody from Memnon to the sun. We rule the hearts of mightiest men, we rule with a despotic sway all giant minds. We are not impotent, we pallid stones. Not all our power is gone, not all our fame, not all the magic of our high renown, not all the wonder that encircles us, not all the mysteries that in us lie, not all the memories that hang upon and cling around about us as a garment, clothing us in a robe of more than glory.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Haunted Palace by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. In the greenest of our valleys, by good angels tenanted, once a fair and stately palace, radiant palace, reared its head. In the monarch thought's dominion it stood there. Never seraph spread opinion over a fabric half so fair. Banners yellow, glorious, golden, on its roof did float and flow. All this was in the olden time, long ago. And every gentle air that dallied in that sweet day along the ramparts, plumed and pallid, a winged odor went away. Wanderers in that happy valley through two luminous windows saw spirits moving musically to a lute's well-tuned law, bound about a throne where sitting Porphyrogene, in state his glory well befitting, the ruler of the realm was seen. And all with pearl and ruby glowing was the fair palace door, through which came flowing and sparkling evermore, a troop of echoes, whose sweet duty was but to sing, in voices of surpassing beauty, the wit and wisdom of their king. But evil things, in robes of sorrow, assailed the monarch's high estate. Ah, let us mourn, for never morrow shall dawn upon him desolate. And round about his home the glory that blushed and bloomed is but a dim remembered story of the old time entombed. And travelers now within that valley through the red litten windows see vast forms that move fantastically to a discordant melody, while like a ghastly rapid river through the pale door a hideous throng rush out forever and laugh, but smile no more. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Conqueror Worm by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Nemo. Lo, 'tis a gala night within the lonesome latter years, an angel throng, bewinged, bedight in veils and drowned in tears, sit in a theatre to see a play of hope and fears, while the orchestra breathes fitfully the music of the spheres. Mimes in the form of God on high mutter and mumble low, and hither and thither fly. Mere puppets they who come and go at bidding of vast formless things that shift the scenery to and fro, flapping from out their condor wings in visible woe. That motley drama, oh be sure it shall not be forgot, with its phantom chased forevermore by a crowd that sees it not, through a circle that ever returneth in to the selfsame spot, and much of madness, and more of sin, and horror the soul of the plot. But see, amid the mimic rout, a crawling shape intrude, a blood-red thing that writhes from out the scenic solitude. It writhes, with mortal pangs, the mimes become its food, and the angels sob at vermin fangs, and human gore imbued. Out, out are the lights, out all, and over each quivering form the curtain, a funeral pall, comes down with the rush of a storm, and the angels, all pallid and wan, uprising, unveiling, affirm that the play is the tragedy, man, and its hero, the conqueror worm. End a poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Silence by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. There are some qualities, some incorporate things that have a double life, which thus is made a type of that twin entity which springs from matter and light, evinced in solid and shade. There is a twofold silence, sea and shore, body and soul. One dwells in lonely places, newly with grass o'ergrowing. Some solemn graces, some human memories and tearful lore render him terrorless. His name's no more. He is the corporate silence, dread him not. No power hath he of evil in himself, but should some urgent fate, untimely lot, bring thee to meet his shadow, nameless elf that haunteth the lone regions where hath trod no foot of man, commend thyself to God. 1840. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Dreamland by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Nemo. By a route obscure and lonely, haunted by ill angels only, where an eidolon named Night on a black throne reigns upright, I have reached these lands but newly from an ultimate dim Thule, from a wild weird clime that lieth sublime, out of space, out of time. Bottomless vales and boundless floods, and chasms and caves and Titan woods, with forms that no man can discover for the dews that drip all over, mountains toppling evermore into seas without a shore, seas that restlessly aspire, surging unto skies of fire, lakes that endlessly outspread their lone waters, lone and dead, their still waters, still and chilly with the snows of the lolling lily. By the lakes that thus outspread their lone waters, lone and dead, their sad waters, sad and chilly with the snows of the lolling lily. By the mountains near the river, murmuring lowly, murmuring ever, by the grey woods, by the swamp, where the toad and the newt encamp, by the dismal tarns and pools, where dwell the ghouls, by each spot the most unholy, in each nook most melancholy. There the traveller meets aghast sheeted memories of the past, shrouded forms that start and sigh as they pass the wanderer by, white-robed forms of friends long given in agony to the earth and heaven. For the heart whose woes are legion, 'tis a peaceful, soothing region. For the spirit that walks in shadow, 'tis, oh, 'tis an Eldorado. But the traveller, travelling through it, may not, dare not openly view it. Never its mysteries are exposed to the weak human eye unclosed. So wills its king, who hath forbid the uplifting of the fringed lid, And thus the sad soul that here passes beholds it but through darkened glasses, by a route obscure and lonely, haunted by ill angels only, where an idolent named Night on a black throne reigns upright. I have wandered home but newly from this ultimate dim Thule. 1844. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To Zante by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org. Fair isle, that from the fairest of all flowers thy gentlest of all gentle names dost take, how many memories of what radiant hours at sight of thee and thine at once awake, how many scenes of what departed bliss, how many thoughts of what entombed hopes, how many visions of a maiden that is no more, no more upon thy verdant slopes. No more, alas, that magical sad sound transforming all. Thy charms shall please no more, thy memory no more. Accursed ground, henceforward I hold thy flower-enamelled shore. O hyacinthine isle, O purple Zante, Iola d'oro, fior de Levante. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Hymn by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. At morn, at noon, at twilight dim, Maria, thou hast heard my hymn. In joy and woe, in good and ill, Mother of God, be with me still. When the hours flew brightly by, and not a cloud obscured the sky, my soul, lest it should truant be, thy grace did guide to thine, and thee now, when storms of fate o'ercast darkly my present and my past, let my future radiant shine with sweet hopes of thee and thine. 1885. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section 34 of the Complete Poetical Works. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Complete Poetical Works by Edgar Allan Poe. Section 34. Notes. Note on Lenore. Lenore was published, very nearly in its existing shape, in The Pioneer for 1843, but under the title of The Paean. Now first published in the Poems of Youth, the germ of it appeared in 1831. Note on To One in Paradise. To One in Paradise was included originally in The Visionary, a tale now known as The Assignation, in July 1835, and appeared as a separate poem entitled To Ianthe in Heaven in Burton's Gentleman's Magazine for July 1839. The fifth stanza is now added for the first time to the piece. Note on The Colosseum. The Colosseum appeared in the Baltimore Saturday Visitor in 1833 and was republished in the Southern Literary Messenger for August 1835 as A Prize Poem. Note on The Haunted Palace. The Haunted Palace, originally issued in the Baltimore American Museum for April 1838, was subsequently embodied in that much admired tale, The Fall of the House of Usher, and published in it in Burton's Gentleman's Magazine for September 1839. It reappeared in that as a separate poem in the 1845 edition of Poe's Poems. Note on The Conqueror Worm. The Conqueror Worm, then contained in Poe's favorite tale of Ligeia, was first published in the American Museum for September 1838. As a separate poem, it reappeared in Graham's Magazine for January 1843. Note on Silence. The sonnet Silence was originally published in Burton's Gentleman's Magazine for April 1840. Note on Dreamland. The first known publication of Dreamland was in Graham's Magazine for June 1844. Note on Tizante. The sonnet Tizante is not discoverable earlier than January 1837, when it appeared in the Southern Literary Messenger. Note on Hymn. The initial version of the Catholic hymn was contained in the story of Morella and published in the Southern Literary Messenger for April 1835. The lines as they now stand, and with their present title, were first published in the Broadway Journal for August 1845. End of section 34.
Section 35 of the Complete Poetical Works of Edgar Allan Poe. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Complete Poetical Works of Edgar Allan Poe. Scenes from Politian, Scene 1. An unpublished drama.
Alessandra, read by phone.
Castiglione, read by Algie Pug.
Di Broglio, read by Nemo.
Stage directions, read by Larry Wilson. Scene 1. Rome, a hall in a palace. Alessandra and Castiglione.
Thou art sad, Castiglione.
Sad? Not I. Oh, I am the happiest man in Rome. A few days more, thou knowest, my Alessandra, will make thee mine. Oh, I am very happy.
Methinks thou hast a singular way of showing thy happiness. What ails thee, cousin of mine? Why didst thou sigh so deeply?
Did I sigh? I was not conscious of it. It is a fashion, a most silly fashion I have, when I am very happy. Did I sigh?
Thou didst. Thou art not well. Thou hast indulged too much of late, and I am vexed to see it. Late hours and wine, Castiglione, these will ruin thee. Thou art already altered. Thy looks are haggard. Nothing so wears away the constitution as late hours and wine.
Nothing, fair cousin, nothing. Not even deep sorrow wears it away like evil hours and wine. I will amend.
Do it. I would have thee drop thy riotous company too. Fellows low-born ill suit the like of old Di Broglio's heir and Alessandra's husband.
I will drop them.
Thou wilt, thou must. Attend thou also more to thy dress and equipage. They are overplain for thy lofty rank and fashion. Much depends upon appearances.
I'll see to it.
Then see to it. Pay more attention, sir, to a becoming carriage. Much thou wantest in dignity.
Much, oh much I want in proper dignity.
Thou mockest me, sir.
Sweet, gentle Lullagy.
Heard I aright? I speak to him, he speaks of Lalage. Sir Count.
Places her hand on his shoulder.
What art thou dreaming? He's not well. What ails thee, sir?
Cousin, fair cousin, madam, I crave thy pardon. Indeed, I am not well. Your hand from off my shoulder, if you please. This air is most oppressive. Madam, the Duke.
Enter de Broglio.
My son, I've news for thee. Hey, what's the matter?
Observing Alessandra.
In the pouts? Kiss her, Castiglione. Kiss her, you dog, and make it up. I say this minute. I've news for you both. Politian is expected hourly in Rome. Politian, Earl of Leicester. We'll have him at the wedding. 'Tis his first visit to the imperial city.
Politian of Britain, Earl of Leicester.
The same, my love. We'll have him at the wedding. A man quite young in years, but grey in fame. I've not seen him, but rumour speaks of him as of a prodigy, preeminent in arts and arms and wealth and high descent. We'll have him at the wedding.
I have heard much of this Politian. Gay, volatile, and giddy, is he not, and little given to thinking?
Far from it, love. No branch, they say, of all philosophy so deep abstruse he has not mastered it, learned as few are learned.
'Tis very strange. I have known men have seen Politian, and sought his company. They speak of him as of one who entered madly into life, drinking the cup of pleasure to the dregs.
Ridiculous! Now I have seen Politian, and know him well. Nor learned nor mirthful he. He is a dreamer, and shut out from common passions.
Children, we disagree. Let us go forth and taste the fragrant air of the garden. Did I dream, or did I hear, Politian was a melancholy man?
Exit. End of section 35. Section 36 of the complete poetical works of Edgar Allan Poe. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Scenes from Politian, Scene 2, an unpublished drama.
Lalage, read by Trisha G.
Jacinta, read by B. L. Newman.
The Monk, read by Mirendo 07.
Stage directions read by Larry Wilson. Rome, a lady's apartment with a window open and looking into a garden. Lalage in deep mourning, reading at a table on which lie some books and a hand mirror. In the background, Jacinta, a servant maid, leans carelessly upon a chair.
Jacinta, is it thou?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
I did not know, Jacinta, you were in waiting. Sit down. Let not my presence trouble you. Sit down, for I am humble, most humble.
Jacinta, aside.
'Tis time.
Jacinta seats herself in a sidelong manner upon the chair, resting her elbows upon the back, and regarding her mistress with a contemptuous look. Lalage continues to read.
It in another climate, so he said, bore a bright golden flower, but not in this soil.
Pauses, turns over some leaves, and resumes.
No lingering winters there, nor snow, nor shower, but ocean ever to refresh mankind breathes the shrill spirit of the western wind. Oh, beautiful, most beautiful! How like to what my fevered soul doth dream of heaven! Oh, happy land!
Pauses.
She died! The maiden died! Oh, still more happy maiden who couldst die! Jacinta!
Jacinta returns no answer, and Lalage presently resumes.
Again, a similar tale told of a beauteous dame beyond the sea. Thus speaketh one Ferdinand in the words of the play. She died full young. One Bosola answers him. I think not so. Her infelicity seemed to have years too many. Ah, luckless lady! Jacinta!
Still no answer.
Here's a far sterner story, but like, oh, very like in its despair, of that Egyptian queen, winning so easily 1,000 hearts, losing at length her own. She died. Thus endeth the history, and her maids lean over her and keep, 2 gentle maids with gentle names. Iros and Charmian, Rainbow and Dove. Jacinta,
Jacinta, pettishly.
Madame, what is it?
wilt thou, my good Jacinta, be so kind as to go down in the library and bring me the holy evangelists?
Pshaw!
Exit.
If there be balm for the wounded spirit in Gilead, it is there. Dew in the night time of my bitter trouble will there be found. Dew sweeter far than that which hangs like chains of pearl on Hermon Hill.
Re-enter Jacinta and throws a volume on the table.
There, ma'am, is the book.
Jacinta aside.
Indeed, she is very troublesome.
Lalage astonished.
What didst thou say, Jacinta? Have I done aught to grieve thee or to vex thee? I am sorry, for thou hast served me long and ever been trustworthy and respectful.
Resumes her reading. Jacinta aside.
I can't believe she has any more jewels. No, she gave me all.
What didst thou say, Jacinta? Now I bethink me, thou hast not spoken lately of thy wedding. How fares good Ugo, and when is it to be? Can I do aught? Is there no further aid thou needest, Jacinta?
Jacinta aside.
Is there no further aid that's meant for me?
Aloud.
I'm sure, madame, you need not be always throwing those jewels in my teeth.
Jewels? Jacinta? Now indeed, Jacinta, I thought not of the jewels.
Oh, perhaps not. But then, I might have sworn it. After all, there's Ugo says the ring is only paste, for he's sure the Count Castiglione never would have given a real diamond to such as you. And, at the best, I'm certain, madame, you cannot have use for jewels now. But I might have sworn it.
Exit. Lalage bursts into tears and leans her head upon the table. After a short pause, raises it.
Poor Lalage, and has it come to this? Thy servant maid. But courage, 'tis but a viper whom thou hast cherished to sting thee to the soul.
Taking up the mirror.
Ha, here at least's a friend. Too much a friend in earlier days. A friend will not deceive thee. Fair mirror and true, now tell me, for thou canst, a tale, a pretty tale, and heed thou not though it be rife with woe. It answers me. It speaks of sunken eyes and wasted cheeks, and beauty long deceased. Remembers me of joy departed. Hope, the seraph Hope, inurned and entombed. Now in a tone, low, sad, and solemn, but most audible, whispers of early grave, untimely yawning for ruined maid. Fair mirror and true, thou liest not. Thou hast no end to gain, no heart to break. Castiglione lied who said he loved. Thou true, he false, false, false.
While she speaks, a monk enters her apartment and approaches unobserved.
Refuge thou hast, sweet daughter, in heaven. Think of eternal things. Give up thy soul to penitence and pray.
Lalage arising hurriedly.
I cannot pray. My soul is at war with God. The frightful sounds of merriment below disturb my senses. Go, I cannot pray. The sweet airs from the garden worry me. Thy presence grieves me. Go, thy priestly raiment fills me with dread. Thy ebony crucifix with horror and awe.
Think of thy precious soul.
Think of my early days. Think of my father and mother in heaven. Think of our quiet home and the rivulet that ran before the door. Think of my little sisters. Think of them. And think of me. Think of my trusting love and confidence. His vows, my ruin. Think of my unspeakable misery. Begone. Yet stay. What was it thou saidst of prayer and penitence? Didst thou not speak of faith and vows before the throne?
I did.
'Tis well. There is a vow 'twere fitting should be made. A sacred vow, imperative and urgent. A solemn vow.
Daughter, this zeal is well.
Father, this zeal is anything but well. Hast thou a crucifix fit for this thing? a crucifix whereon to register this sacred vow?
He hands her his own.
Not that! Oh, no, no, no!
Shuddering.
Not that, not that! I tell thee, holy man, thy raiments and thy ebony cross affright me. Stand back, I have a crucifix myself. I have a crucifix. Methinks 'twere fitting the deed, the vow, the symbol of the deed, and the deed's register should tally, father.
Draws a cross-handled dagger and raises it on high.
Behold the cross wherewith a vow like mine is written in heaven.
Thy words are madness, daughter, and speak a purpose unholy. Thy lips are livid, thine eyes are wild. Tempt not the wrath divine. Pause ere too late. Oh, be not rash. Swear not the oath. Oh, swear it not.
'Tis sworn.
End of section 36. Section 37 of the complete poetical works of Edgar Allan Poe. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Scenes from Poetical, Scene 3, an unpublished drama.
Poetical, read by Adrian Stevens.
Balthazar, read by Phil Schampf.
Voice, read by Trisha G.
Stage directions, read by Larry Wilson. An apartment in a palace. Poetical and Balthazar.
Arouse thee now, Poetical. Thou must not, nay, indeed, thou shalt not give way unto these humours. Be thyself. Shake off the idle fancies that beset thee, and live, for now thou diest.
Not so, Balthazar. Surely I live.
Poetical, it doth grieve me to see thee thus.
Balthazar, it doth grieve me to give thee cause for grief, my honoured friend. Command me, sir, what wouldst thou have me do? At thy behest I will shake off that nature which from my forefathers I did inherit, which with my mother's milk I did imbibe, and be no more Poetical, but some other. Command me, sir.
To the field, then, to the field, to the senate or the field.
Alas, alas, there is an imp would follow me even there. There is an imp hath followed me even there. There is... What voice was that?
I heard it not. I heard not any voice except thine own, and the echo of thine own.
Then I but dreamed.
Give not thy soul to dreams. The camp, the court befit thee. Fame awaits thee, glory calls, and her trumpet tongued thou wilt not hear, in hearkening to imaginary sounds and phantom voices.
It is a phantom voice. Didst thou not hear it then?
I heard it not.
Thou heardst it not? Balthazar, speak no more to me, Poetical, of thy camps and courts. Oh, I am sick, sick, sick even unto death, of the hollow and high-sounding vanities of the populous earth. Bear with me yet a while. We have been boys together, schoolfellows, and now are friends, yet shall not be so long, for in the eternal city thou shalt do me a kind and gentle office, and a power august, benignant, and supreme, shall then absolve thee of all further duties unto thy friend.
Thou speakest a fearful riddle, I will not understand.
Yet now as fate approaches, and the hours are breathing low, the sands of time are changed to golden grains, and dazzle me, Balthazar. Alas, alas, I cannot die, having within my heart so keen a relish for the beautiful as hath been kindled within it. Methinks the air is balmier now than it was wont to be. Rich melodies are floating in the winds. A rarer loveliness bedecks the earth, and with a holier lustre the quiet moon sitteth in heaven. Hist, hist, thou canst not say thou hearest not now, Balthazar.
Indeed I hear not.
Not hear it? Listen, now, listen. The faintest sound, and yet the sweetest that ear ever heard. A lady's voice, and sorrow in the tone. Balthazar, it oppresses me like a spell. Again, again, How solemnly it falls into my heart of hearts, that eloquent voice surely I never heard, yet it were well had I but heard it with its thrilling tones in earlier days.
I myself hear it now. Be still. The voice, if I mistake not greatly, proceeds from yonder lattice, which you may see very plainly through the window. It belongs, does it not, unto this palace of the Duke. The singer is undoubtedly beneath the roof of His Excellency, and perhaps is even that Alessandra of whom he spoke as the betrothed of Castiglione, his son and heir.
Be still, it comes again.
And is thy heart so strong as for to leave me thus, that have loved thee so long, in wealth and woe among? And is thy heart so strong as for to leave me thus? Say nay, say nay.
The song is English, and oft I have heard it in merry England, never so plaintively. Psst, psst, it comes again.
Is it so strong as for to leave me thus, that have loved thee so long, in wealth and woe among? And is thy heart so strong as for to leave me thus? Say nay, say nay.
'Tis hushed, and all is still.
All is not still.
Let us go down.
Go down, Balthazar, go.
The hour is growing late. The Duke awaits us. Thy presence is expected in the hall below. What ails thee, Earl Politian?
Who have loved thee so long, in wealth and woe among? And is thy heart so strong? Say nay, say nay.
Let us descend. 'Tis time. Politian, give these fancies to the wind. Remember, pray, your bearing lately savoured much of rudeness unto the Duke. Arouse thee, and remember.
Remember? I do. Lead on. I do remember.
Going.
Let us descend. Believe me, I would give freely to give the broad lands of my earldom, to look upon the face hidden by yon lattice, to gaze upon that veiled face, and hear once more that silent tongue.
Let me beg you, sir, descend with me. The Duke may be offended. Let us go down, I pray you.
Say nay, say nay.
Politian aside.
'Tis strange. 'Tis very strange. Methought the voice chimed in with my desires and bade me to stay.
Approaching the window.
Sweet voice, I heed thee, and will surely stay. Now be this fancy by heaven, or be it fate, still will I not descend. Balthazar, make apology unto the Duke for me. I will not go down tonight.
Your lordship's pleasure shall be attended to. Good night, Politian.
Good night, my friend. Good night.
End of section 37. Section 38 of the complete poetical works of Edgar Allan Poe. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Scenes from Politian, Scene 4, an unpublished drama.
Politian, read by Adrian Stevens.
Lalage, read by Trisha G.
Stage directions read by Larry Wilson. The Gardens of a Palace, Moonlight, Lalage and Politian.
And dost thou speak of love to me, Politian? Dost thou speak of love to Lalage? Ah, woe is me! This mockery is most cruel indeed.
Weep not, O sob not thus, thy bitter tears will madden me. O mourn not, Lalage, be comforted. I know I know it all, and still I speak of love. Look at me, brightest and beautiful Lalage. Turn here thine eyes. Thou askest me if I could speak of love. Knowing what I know, and seeing what I have seen, thou askest me that, and thus I answer thee. Thus, on my bended knee, I answer thee.
Kneeling.
Sweet Lalage, I love thee, love thee, love thee. Through good and ill, through weal and woe, I love thee. Not mother with her firstborn on her knee thrills with intenser love than I for thee. Not on God's altar, in any time or clime, burned there a holier fire than burneth now within my spirit for thee. And do I love?
Arising.
Even for thy woes I love thee, even for thy woes, thy beauty and thy woes.
Alas, proud Earl, thou dost forget thyself, remembering me. How in thy father's halls, among the maidens pure and reproachless of thy princely line, could the dishonoured Lalage abide? Thy wife, and with a tainted memory, my seared and blighted name, how could it tally with the ancestral honours of thy house, and with thy glory?
Speak not to me of glory. I hate, I loathe the name. I do abhor the unsatisfactory and ideal thing. Art thou not Lalage, and I pollution? Do I not love? Art thou not beautiful? What need we more? Ha! Glory! Now speak not of it. By all I hold most sacred and most solemn, by all my wishes now, my fears hereafter, by all I scorn on earth and hope in heaven, there is no deed I would more glory in than in thy cause to scoff at this same glory and trample it under foot. What matters it? What matters it, my fairest and my best, that we go down unhonoured and forgotten into the dust? So we descend together, and then perchance.
Why dost thou pause, Paulician?
And then perchance arise together, Lalage, and roam the starry and quiet dwellings of the blest, and still.
Why dost thou pause, Paulician?
And still together.
Now, Earl of Leicester, thou lovest me, and in my heart of hearts I feel thou lovest me truly.
O Lalage,
Throwing himself upon his knee.
and lovest thou me?
Hist, hush! Within the gloom of yonder trees methought a figure passed, a spectral figure, solemn and slow and noiseless, like the grim shadow Conscience, solemn and noiseless.
Walks across and returns.
I was mistaken. 'Twas but a giant bough stirred by the autumn wind. Paulician,
My Lalage, my love, why art thou moved? Why dost thou turn so pale? Not conscience self, far less a shadow which thou likenst to it, should shake the firm spirit thus. But the night wind is chilly, and these melancholy boughs throw over all things a gloom.
Paulician, thou speakest to me of love. Knowest thou the land with which all tongues are busy? A land new found, miraculously found by one of Genoa, 1,000 leagues within the golden west? A fairy land of flowers, and fruit, and sunshine, and crystal lakes, and overarching forests, and mountains, around whose towering summits the winds of heaven untrammelled flow, which air to breathe is happiness now, and will be freedom hereafter in days that are to come.
O wilt thou fly to that paradise, my Lalage? Wilt thou fly thither with me? There care shall be forgotten, and sorrow shall be no more, and Eros be all. And life shall then be mine, for I will live for thee, and in thine eyes, and thou shalt be no more a mourner, but the radiant joys shall wait upon thee, and the angel hope attend thee ever. And I will kneel to thee, and worship thee, and call thee my beloved, my own, my beautiful, my love, my wife, my all, Oh, wilt thou, Lalage, fly thither with me?
A deed is to be done. Castiglione lives.
And he shall die.
Exit. Lalage after a pause.
And he shall die. Alas! Castiglione die? Who spoke the words? Where am I? What was it he said? Paulician, thou art not gone. Thou art not gone, Paulician. I feel thou art not gone, yet dare not look, lest I behold thee not. Thou couldst not go with those words upon thy lips. Oh, speak to me, and let me hear thy voice. One word to say thou art not gone. One little sentence to say how thou dost scorn, how thou dost hate my womanly weakness. Ha, ha, thou art not gone. Oh, speak to me. I knew thou wouldst not go. I knew thou wouldst not, couldst not, durst not go. Villain, thou art not gone. Thou mockest me, and thus I clutch thee, thus. He is gone, he is gone, gone, gone. Where am I? 'Tis well, 'tis very well, so that the blade be keen, the blow be sure. 'Tis well, 'tis very well. Alas, alas.
End of section 38. Section 39 of the complete poetical works of Edgar Allan Poe. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Scenes from Paulician, Scene 5, an unpublished drama.
Paulician, read by Adrian Stevens.
Balthazar, read by Phil Shemp.
Castiglione, read by Algie Pug.
Stage directions read by Larry Wilson. The Suburbs. Paulician alone.
This weakness grows upon me. I am fain, and much I fear me ill. It will not do to die ere I have lived. Stay, stay thy hand, O Azrael, yet awhile. Prince of the powers of darkness and the tomb, O pity me, O pity me, let me not perish now in the budding of my paradisal hope. Give me to live yet a little while. 'Tis I who pray for life, I who so late demanded but to die. What saith the Count?
Enter Balthazar.
That knowing no cause of quarrel or of feud between the Earl Paulician and himself, he doth decline your cartel.
What didst thou say? What answer was it you brought me, good Balthazar? With what excessive fragrance the zephyr comes, laden from yonder bowers, a fairer day, or one more worthy Italy, methinks. No mortal eyes have seen. What, said the Count?
That he, Castiglione, not being aware of any feud existing, or any cause of quarrel between your lordship and himself, cannot accept the challenge.
It is most true. All this is very true. When saw you, sir, when saw you now, Balthazar, in the frigid, ungenial Britain, which we left so lately, a heaven so calm as this, so utterly free from the evil taint of clouds? And he did say?
No more, my lord, than I have told you. The Count Castiglione will not fight, having no cause for quarrel.
Now this is true, all very true. Thou art my friend, Balthazar, and I have not forgotten it. Thou'lt do me a piece of service. Wilt thou go back and say unto this man that I, the Earl of Leicester, hold him a villain? Thus much I prithee say unto the Count. It is exceeding just he should have cause for quarrel.
My lord, my friend.
Paulician aside.
'Tis he comes himself.
Aloud.
Thou reasonest well. I know what thou wouldst say. Not send the message. Well, I will think of it. I will not send it. Now, prithee, leave me. Hither doth come a person with whom affairs of a most private nature I would adjust.
I go. Tomorrow we meet, do we not? At the Vatican?
At the Vatican.
Exit Balthazar. Enter Castiglione.
The Earl of Leicester, here?
I am the Earl of Leicester, and thou seest, does thou not, that I am here?
My lord, some strange, some singular mistake, misunderstanding, hath without doubt arisen. Thou hast been urged thereby, in heat of anger, to address some words most unaccountable, in writing, to me, Castiglione, the bearer being Baldassar, Duke of Surrey. I am aware of nothing which might warrant thee in this thing, having given thee no offence. Ha! Am I right? 'Twas a mistake? Undoubtedly, we all do err at times.
Draw, villain, and prate no more.
Ah! Draw? And villain? Have at thee at once, proud Earl.
Draws.
Thus to the expiatory tomb, untimely sepulchre, I do devote thee, in the name of Lalage.
Castiglione letting fall his sword, and recoiling to the extremity of the stage.
Of Lalage? Hold off thy sacred hand. Avaunt, I say. Avaunt, I will not fight thee. Indeed, I dare not.
Thou wilt not fight me, didst say, Sir Count? Shall I be baffled thus? Now this is well. Didst say thou darest not? Ha!
I dare not, dare not. Hold off thy hand. With that beloved name so fresh upon thy lips, I will not fight thee. I cannot, I dare not.
Now, by my halidom, I do believe thee, coward, I do believe thee.
Ah, coward? This may not be.
Clutches his sword and staggers towards Politian. But his purpose is changed before reaching him, and he falls upon his knee at the feet of the Earl.
Alas, my lord, it is most true. In such a cause I am the veriest coward. Oh, pity me.
Politian greatly softened.
Alas, I do. Indeed I pity thee.
And Lalage.
Scoundrel, arise and die.
It needeth not be thus. Oh, let me die thus on my bended knee. It were most fitting that in this deep humiliation I perish. For in the fight I will not raise a hand against thee, Earl of Leicester. Strike thou home.
Baring his bosom.
Here is no let or hindrance to thy weapon. Strike home. I will not fight thee.
Now's death and hell. Am I not sorely, grievously tempted to take thee at thy word? But mark me, sir, think not to fly me thus. Do thou prepare for public insult in the streets, before the eyes of the citizens. I'll follow thee, like an avenging spirit. I'll follow thee, even unto death. Before those whom thou lovest, before all Rome, I'll taunt thee, villain, I'll taunt thee. Dost hear? With cowardice. Thou wilt not fight me, thou liest. Thou shalt.
Exit.
Now this indeed is just, most righteous, and most just, avenging heaven.
End of section 39. End of Scenes from Politian by Edgar Allan Poe.
Notes on Politian by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Richmond Na Tete. Such portions of Politian as are known to the public first saw the light of publicity in the Southern Literary Messenger for December 1835 and January 1836, being styled Scenes from Politian, an unpublished drama. These scenes were included unauthored in the 1845 collection of poems by Poe. The larger portion of the original draft subsequently became the property of the present editor, but it is not considered just to the poet's memory to publish it. The work is a hasty and unrevised production of its author's earlier days of literary labor, and beyond the scenes already known, scarcely calculated to enhance his reputation. As a specimen, however, of the parts unpublished, the following fragments from the first scene of Act 2 may be offered. The Duke, it should be premised, is uncle to Alessandra and father of Castiglione, her betrothed. Duke, why do you laugh? Castiglione, indeed, I hardly know myself. Stay, was it not on yesterday we were speaking of the L? Of the L pollution? Yes, it was yesterday, Alessandro. You and I, you must remember, we were walking in the garden. Duke, perfectly, I do remember it. What of it? What then? Castiglione, oh, nothing, nothing at all. Duke, nothing at all? It is most singular that you should laugh at nothing at all. Castiglione, most singular, singular. Duke, look yon, Castiglione, be so kind as tell me, sir, at once what is you mean, what are you talking of? Castiglione, was it not so? We differed in opinion touching him. Duke, him? Whom? Castiglione, why, sir, the air pollution. Duke, the Earl of Leicester. Yes, is it he you mean? We differed indeed. If I now recollect, the words you used were that the Earl you knew was neither learned nor mirthful. Castiglione, ha ha, now did I? Duke, that you did, sir, and well, I knew at the time you were wrong, it not being the character of the Earl, whom all the world allows to be a most hilarious man. Be not, my son, too positive again. Castiglione, 'tis singular, most singular. I could not think it possible so little time could so much alter one. To say the truth, about an hour ago, as I was walking with the Count San Ozo, all arm in arm, we met this very man, the Earl. He, with his friend Balthazar, having just arrived in Rome. Ha ha, he is altered. Such an account he gave me of his journey, it would have made you die with laughter. Such tales he told of his caprices and his merry freaks along the road, such oddity, such humor, such wit, such vim, such flashes of wild merriment, set off too in such full relief by the grave demeanor of his friend, who, to speak the truth, was gravity itself. Duke, did I not tell you? Castiglione, you did, and yet 'tis strange, but true, as strange, how much I was mistaken. I always thought the Earl a gloomy man. Duke, so you see, be not too positive. Whom have we here? It cannot be the Earl. Castiglione, the Earl? Oh no, 'tis not the Earl, but yet it is. And leaning upon his friend Balthazar, ah, welcome, sir. Enter Politian Balthazar. My lord, a second welcome let me give you, to Rome, his grace the Duke of Broglio. Father, this is the Earl Politian, Earl of Leicester in Great Britain. Politian bows haughtily. That, his friend Balthazar, Duke of Surrey, the Earl has letters, so please you for your grace. Duke, ha ha, most welcome to Rome, into our palace, Earl Politian. And you, most noble Duke, I'm glad to see you. I knew your father well, my lord Politian. Castiglione, call your cousin hither, and let me make the noble Earl acquainted with your betrothed. You come, sir, at a time most seasonable, the wedding. Politian, touching those letters, sir, your son made mention of. Your son, is he not? Touching those letters, sir, I would not of them. If such there be, my friend Balthazar here. Balthazar? Ha! My friend Balthazar here will hand them to your grace. I would retire. Duke, retire? So soon? Castiglione, what ho! Benito, Rupert, his lordship's chambers. Show his lordship to them. His lordship is unwell. Enter Benito. Benito, this way, my lord. Exit, followed by Politian. Duke, retire? Unwell? Balthazar, so please you, sir, I fear me 'tis as you say, his lordship is unwell, the damp air of the evening, the fatigue of a long journey, indeed, I had better follow his lordship, he must be unwell, I will return anon. Duke, return anon? Now this is very strange, Castiglione. This way, my son, I wish to speak with thee. You surely were mistaken in what you said of the earl. Mirthful indeed. Which of us said Politian was a melancholy man? Exeunt. And of note, this recording is in the public domain.